y'all both got the same skill set, what's going to separate you is the will. That's what's going to separate you. And will is power. So everybody got the same skill set, but what separates you is the will. That's what separates you. That's when you got two dogs that come up against each other, somebody got to take an L and somebody taking a W, right? So first quarter, first half, second half, that's what happened. So then how do we create power? We create power by our drive, by our engine. That's how we create power. So that's why I ask you, what do you want? Now, I'm gonna be real. I ain't got no reason to lie to y'all. The average person that I talk to say championship, and they say NBA. Y'all, you said something deeper than that. Matter of fact, bro, you really said it. The average dude that's in the league don't even want to be in the league, bro. The average dude in the league ain't trying to play 82 games, right? What else is he not trying to do? Let's be real. 82 games. What else is he not trying to do? What are you? Some of you not trying to do? You love the game, but what are you not trying to do? I'm not trying to go to recovery. Bottom line, I don't feel like being in recovery. What else? Workouts, good. What else? Travel, what else? Say it again. Practice, film, weight. You feel what I'm saying? Like, let's just keep it 100, bro. Most of us ain't trying to do that. You feel me? So when cats say, I want to go to the NBA, no, you don't. You want to take care of your mama. That's what you want to do. Because if you can make $40 million without going to the league and make $40 million going to some school every day, helping a group of kids, and you can get up and go whenever you wanted to. You can do 1 day a week, 2 days a week, go train them. Which one would you do? The league for 82 games, practice, injury, travel. Which one would you take? Same 40 mil. Going to the kids. It ain't rocket science. So let's be 100. Most of us ain't trying to do this. Right? So if we're not trying to do it, what happens is when you do it the first half, you do it a little bit, maybe a little lot, then you get the second half, then it get hard, then you quit. You're like, I ain't trying to do this. Now, you might not say you quitting, but you're not giving 120%. Does that make sense? All right, so let's do this. Y'all got to be fair. And one of y'all tell the truth. How many of you have been in the game and somewhere in the game, you lost interest in the game? Just be honest. One person, you played the game and you lost interest. Let me see your hands. Just lost interest. And so when you lose interest, you lose what? You lose power. That's what happens. So you lost interest. You like, I ain't really trying to be here. So you lost power. So the reason why I'm asking you, what do you want? Because if you know what you want, that can drive you. So you say, who say they want to take care of their mama? Good. You want to take care of your mama. What is that? Where you from? St. Paul, Minnesota. Good. And when you say take care of your mama, what does that look like? Love it. Love it. So, and again, we're just going to be honest. It's a small group. How many times have you practiced and played the game and watched film did you really think about that and had that at the front of your mind? Bingo. I asked him, he was like, he ain't even miss mama. He was like, I've definitely not had it on the front of my mind. You feel me? So what happens when you put it in the front of your mind, you go from a 4-cylinder to a 12-cylinder. And here's the crazy part. The cylinders are in you, but when you're not interested, you go to a 4 instead of a 12. And what my job is to find a way to make the best you show up. Does that make sense? How many games do you play? So my goal is to make your will show up for 35 games. Because if your will shows up for 35 games, you're going to beat the average team because they just come in with what? They just come in with skill, bro. And they too don't want to be there. And they too don't want to practice. And they too, out of everything, which one you hate the most? Let's be real. Which one, out of what you have to do in basketball, which one do you hate the most? Practice. And you got to do that more than anything else. Isn't that crazy? Like the one thing you hate, that's the thing you got to do the most of. It ain't like you playing the most of the time. You only playing how many days a week? 2 days a week. How many hours? 2 hours. That's it. You play 4 hours tops. How many hours you practicing? You can't even think. He like, I just started looking at disgust. My man was like, I can't even count it. So you see the problem we have here? We got a problem. We got a problem with you skilled enough, but maybe you're not willed enough. Does that make sense? All right, we good? Does that make sense? Good. So we got to ask the question, what drives you? Write that down. What drives me? What drives me? And every day when you wake up, I need you to tap into that power. Now, there are a couple things that drive me. So the first thing that drives me, and if you know my story, don't say nothing, but I left the crib at 16. The very first time I ran away from home, I was like between 12 and 13. I called my mom, right? Because the person that was raising me was 6'8". And as you can tell, I'm not 6'8". You feel me? I ain't even start growing. Like, I had a growth spurt at 16, and you could tell it wasn't a big one. You feel me? Like, it wasn't a lot, right? So imagine how short I was in high school. So people used to tell me all the time, like, yo, bro, I ain't trying to be funny, but you know that ain't your father, don't you? I was like, well, you know that ain't your father. I said, that's my father. That's not your father. I'm like, yeah, it's my father. Because if it wasn't my father, who would have told me? My mom would have told me it wasn't my father. She ain't never said nothing. So it's got to be my father. You know what I'm saying? That's my sister. That's my sister. So I think I was about 12, almost 13 years old. I called my mom one day at the job. I was like, look, Mom, just be real with me. Just keep it 100. Don't lie to me. Is this man my father? She was like, no, he's not your father. But I was going to tell you. I was like, when? Like 18? 17? Like, when was you going to get to it? She's like, I was going to get to it. So you can imagine when your mama lied to you about your father, like, what do you think happened between me and my mom's relationship? It went down. Why? Because I couldn't what? Good. And what do you think happened to the person that was raising me that I thought was my father? Went down. What do you think I said to myself? You ain't my daddy. Flat out. So I went to school with that mentality the whole nine. So I started running away from the crib when I was 12. I would come back, be gone 3 days, a week, come back. When I was 16, I left for good. When I was homeless for good, you're on the streets of Detroit, there's a lot of stuff that happened. Almost got shot a couple times. A lot of stuff happened, right? So I'm homeless. 16, 17 years old, started hanging out with my boy Bob. Bob started bringing me to church. Like, I'll never forget the first time I went to church. I was like, God, we homeless. What we gonna do? He was like, we not homeless. You homeless. We not homeless. You the one making them crazy decisions. So I remember, being at a revival. Like, I ain't grew up in church. I ain't never seen my mother pray. My father who raised me, I ain't never seen him pray. Like, we didn't go to church. We ain't do that. And I remember my man was preaching. He was just talking about, like, before your mama made you, God knew you were in the womb. Like, for real, you got to understand, I'm 17, bro, 16, 17. If my mom lied to me about who my father was, and my mom got pregnant at 17, I'm thinking I'm a what? I'm a mistake. So my whole life, I'm walking around like I'm a mistake, bro. Like, you ain't really want me. You got pregnant at 17 years old. I don't even know why you didn't have an abortion. I messed your life up. You messed my life up. Now I'm about to mess your life up. That's what I was on. I was about 17, started going to church. The pastor did this thing in Isaiah. It was crazy. My man was like, yo, before your mother knew you, God called you. And I'm like, ooh, that's pretty deep. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I like that. You know what I'm saying? Because if that's the truth, and I ain't no Christian, I don't really know God like that, but I'm hoping that's the truth, because if it's the truth, then it means what? I'm not a mistake. And if I'm not a mistake, then that means I was born with a what? With a purpose. I was like, let's go. My mom didn't even know. I'm like, let's go. And then the pastor, like, my man would come up to me every week. He was like, yo, E, did you graduate from high school? And I was like, nope. He was like, you need to get your GED and go to college. And I was like, bruh, how am I going to go to college? I ain't finished high school. He was like, just get your GED and I'll write a letter of referral, a recommendation letter. And I was like, is that possible? He was like, yeah. I was like, all right, bet. Started dating this girl at the church. I'll never forget, she was a year younger than me. She came to me one day. I was out of high school for 2 years, bro. My boys were selling dope. We were stealing cars off truck. We were just doing some crazy stuff. And she came to me. I used to go to church every week. I never missed church. Wednesday night prayer meeting, I walked 2 hours to get there. I never missed church, y'all. Watch this. My girl came to me and she was like, look, I got to tell you something. I was like, what's up? She's like, do you love me? I was like, yeah, I mean, we 18. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever that means, you know what I'm saying? I love you, but like, what do you mean? She's like, no, do you love me? I was like, I guess. What does that mean? She's like, look, I'm going to college and you don't go with me. I'm breaking up with you. I was like, you doing what? She's like, I'm going to break up with you if I go to college. And I ain't stupid. I ain't go to college, but I know if my girl go to college, pretty little red ball.